Alan with D9J Sports, right back at you with another show. We had to step in today because there's some things that I think that we need to talk about that are happening, and I hope that once I'm said and done, you'll understand how they really pertain to the sports world. Before we start, I'm going to need you to hit that like and subscribe button. I need you to hit the like and subscribe button so we continue to make this thing grow. And I'm not going to quit. I'm going to keep on making it grow. I'm going to keep on reaching out and putting out as much information as I can to you about 409 sports, about local football, and if there's something that comes up that I think that we need to talk about on this channel, we will. Before I get into that, I want to tell a Jasper Junior High that, hey, I didn't forget about you. I've had a lot of things that were going on, and for some reason, I've got so many videos that I broke it down. So hopefully I'll have you guys out today, and I will make sure that I continue to cover you young men and young women in the band and school administrators. So remember, D9J, I haven't forgot about you. So I'm going to talk about something, and I hope that you can understand when it's all, like I said, when it's all said and done, why I'm talking about it. And it's the same thing everybody is talking about. Pretty much a lot of people are, some people are shocked, some people are not shocked. I'm not shocked at all at what has happened with P. Diddy. P. Diddy, and all he's been arrested, and he ain't getting out of jail on bail or nothing like that. And it's just one of those situations where, like I said, I didn't think he was going to get out of jail. I thought they would have put him in jail before that. But the reason I'm talking about it is because it's pretty clear and obvious that there are going to be a lot more names that are going to come out. And how that pertains to us is we're going to see probably some of our heroes, or some kids' heroes that are professional athletes, and their name is going to come out, and it's probably going to be, as adults, we're gonna probably understand, but it's probably some of those youngsters are probably not going to understand. Now, some of the people, and I'm not saying that they've done anything with them. I'm kind of like everybody else. I'm just reporting out on what I've seen. I've seen photos of people, professional athletes with him, the Leonard Fournettes of the world. We all know about Dwight Howard and some of his antics, and he hangs out with him, and so many more. OBJ, he hangs out with him, and how does that affect us, man? We don't want to see anybody get into the position that this. I don't want to call him a young man because he's old enough to know better, but you don't want to see that, and you definitely don't want to kick the dude while he's down. But hey, man, it is what it is. Some things you can bring on yourself. Some of the decisions that you can make can affect you. And now he's got kids, and it's going to be devastating for a lot of people. And there are a lot more names that are going to come out, and especially the sports figures. It's going to be, for me. I hope I don't hear some of the names of some people that you wouldn't suspect. But man, in a situation like this, you never know. You never know. So we're going to keep an eye on that, and we're going to report back out on you as soon as if we ever hear some professional athletes' names that are part of the indictment. If we find out about that, we will definitely let you know about it. So let's move on to the next segment. We're going to talk about UT, and everybody's trying to make a quarterback controversy out of Quinn Ewers and Manning, Arch Manning. And I'm going to give you my opinion on that. For me, it's kind of, here we go again, Texas. Here we go again. I remember when, back in the day, when the Sims kid and McElroy, they took him out and put the Sims kid in, and I wasn't in agreement with that, and I'm definitely not going to be in agreement with when Ewers does come back, that if he's not in there, and you put Arch in there, because for me, yeah, and this is no slight to UTSA. Before I say this, okay, this is no slight to UTSA. You're playing UTSA, dude. You're UTA. You're UT. You're playing your branch off of your school. Okay, even they're a big school, and don't get me wrong, UTA is a good program, but let's keep it real. He comes in the game and he takes off on that electrifying run. Now I will give him credit for that. He's faster than his uncle and his two uncles. I can tell you that. And and then he ended up throwing a couple times. So he had a good game, but that was against UTSA. We all know that the most popular person on the field, on the team, is generally the backup. But you see what happens when the starters get the job. Tony Pollard, Dallas Cowboys. Okay, so many more that we can name off. But for me, no, Quinn Ewers is proving that, hey man, he was only a couple of snaps away from taking them to the title against the Huskies last year. And right off of the bat, in the first two games, man, Quinn Ewers was, as far as I'm concerned, Quinn Ewers was the first two games, he was a front runner for me for the Heisman, because Shedeur Sanders came out in the first game. He was great, but in the second game, he didn't do nothing against Nebraska, even though he was putting pressure on. Hey, Ewers went up to Michigan, even though Michigan is not the same Michigan. Man, that kid was throwing that football. He's been a highly touted kid, and he's going to be in the first round draft. So no, UT, let's not start something up that you guys don't need. Okay, that you really don't need, because you're in a situation right now where you're fortunate because you've got two elite quarterbacks, in case one of them go down. So let's make sure that we stay on that train, because yours is deserved it. And as far as I'm concerned, right now, from what I see, he's not a better player than Quinn Ewers, because yours has played too long. He's had too many games under his belt. He's had too many games under his belt. So you can be one of these people who think you know it all, you know about the QB position. But if you're just being honest about it, and you're giving a fair assessment that there is no way right now that Manning is better than yours is. Okay? All right. So before we move on, let's hit that like and subscribe button. So let's keep it moving. We know we've got a big one coming up, as I've already talked about. The Jasper Bulldogs going to be taking on Beaumont United. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in our show later on tonight. It's getting closer, man. We're a day away. I'm going to tell you the same thing for both teams. Neither one of you can go out there and turn that football over. If you go out there and turn that football over, then you're both going to have a problem. I think it's going to be a pretty good competitive game, even though Beaumont United has is a bigger school and has more kids than Jasper. I think the Jasper Bulldogs kind of got into a rhythm. I think the Coach Crum and Coach Malcolm and the rest of the guys are going to have them ready. And I don't want none of the other coach for Jasper to think that I'm not, talking about them. But hey, Coach Crum is the head coach, and Coach Malcolm and Coach Ryan are relatives. So I'm just speaking, man. So, but I haven't forgot about you guys. And as you noticed, Tuesday, I was out and checked some of the JV practice out as promised. So we're going to get around to them too. So I think that's going to be a big time game, and we're definitely looking for that. And then we know next week we're going to be all the teams are going to be wrapping up for the final preseason game. And I know for the Bulldogs, they're going to be going up to Carthage. It's going to be a tougher man to take on the Carthage Bulldogs. So let's look forward to that. And everybody's going to be traveling this weekend, especially from Jasper, and traveling down around Beaumont. Let's make sure that we're safe. Now I'm getting a big head. It's not that far from Beaumont, so let's leave in adequate time to get there and do the things that we need to do to get there, be on our best behavior. And once it's over with, let's come on back home and just realize, hey, we've got another week of high school football that's going to be said and done. Okay? So, and finally, we're going to touch on something that is definitely near and dear to me, and that is how much we need to get our quarterbacks. We need to get some program for our quarterbacks here around in Jasper to be, to get developed to where they can pass the football. Now, the reason I'm telling you that is because it's very difficult once a kid gets to the 9th grade, 10th grade, and then 11th grade and 12th grade to switch his passing motion. It's going to be really, really tough. You really can't. You can't do it. You can work on it, but you can't do it, because it's going to be good in practice when you're working on it. But when, as they say, when the rubber hits the road, then things are going. That athlete's going to go back to way they were doing things. And that's just human nature. It's just like I've said before. It's like boxing. You can see, if you watch boxing, you see Deontay Wilder, and you know Deontay Wilder is just a slugger, but if he had a jab, then he would be okay. And you would see him come out in the first round, he work that jab, or as they call it, a stick, and then when the rubber hits the road and he starts getting hit, then he goes back to slugging, and that's going to work. That's what you see. Now, one of the greatest college quarterbacks of all times, Tim Tebow, he's the best example that I can give you. Even though he was a great college quarterback, when he got to the NFL, and he had millions of dollars now, ladies and gentlemen, had millions of dollars to try to correct his passing motion, and when the rubber hit the road, he didn't get in there. And that's part of the reason, I'm telling you right now, that's part of the reason why he isn't in the National Football League quarterbacking, or didn't have a long career quarterbacking, because of that passing motion. So, if you want, I'm gonna give you something, a study exam, and so you will kind of understand what I'm talking about in this Friday's football game. Doesn't matter whether you're from Jasper or Beaumont United or whoever you are, and you watch this show. If you watch this show, you go to a local high school football game Friday night, and I want you to pay attention to the quarterback, okay, of each team, and I want you to pay attention to their footwork, or they're bouncing around in the pocket, or they settled. And I also want you to see where they're releasing that football from and how quick it's getting out of their hand. Okay, that is key. Most of the time when you see a high school quarterback throw a pass out there and it gets picked off on the sideline, it's because the guy was probably open at first, but then the quarterback's throwing motion wasn't right. Something wasn't right about it, either his technique or his delivery. So I want you to check that out. And we're gonna start breaking this down, and we're gonna get into it a little bit more, so you as a fan, you can see exactly what we're talking about quarterback development, and how important it is for us to make sure that we get our quarterbacks, on the right road. All right, till next time, this is Alan with D9J Sports, and I'm definitely out.